Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I want to welcome you to our very first West Virginia Innovation Business Model Competition that's hosted by Marshall University and the Lewis College of Business and the Center for Entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Mackenzie Morley, and I'm a business owner here in town. I own Kensington Alley. We're excited to have you while we showcase some of the best and brightest students here within the College of Business, and we're unofficially kicking off our 50th anniversary of the College of Business right here tonight. So thank you all for being here and participating, and thank you to all the students for all of your hard work that we can't wait to see tonight. To set the stage for tonight, we're going to hear from Intuit Chairman of the Board and Marshall University's own Brad Smith.
Hello everyone. I wish I could be with you at this exciting event, but unfortunately my calendar got in the way. But hopefully you'll accept this video from me as an expression of my enthusiasm for the work you're doing and the new skills and capabilities that you're building, both of which will serve you well in the future. The techniques you're practicing are the Silicon Valley best practices, and they've created the most successful innovations and the most valuable companies of our time. I live and work in the heart of the Silicon Valley, but I grew up in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains, and that is where my heart remains. Everything I've ever achieved in life is attributable to those who invested in me, and most notably, the education that I received. That's why I've chosen education and entrepreneurship as the ways to pay it forward, to make it possible for others to pursue and achieve your dreams. These efforts focus on preparing you, the next generation, for the future, and being purposeful about what we can do together today to help you and all of us prosper tomorrow. As a result, we've selected 3 areas to channel our efforts, all focused in West Virginia and the Appalachian region. The first is to understand you, the students of the future. The second is to prepare you for the jobs of the future. And the third is to prepare our education system and the skills that we teach so that you will be ready to capitalize on those opportunities in the future. The first focus is evolving our teaching methods to meet the needs that you will have as you look to the future. Your generation and the generations that follow you are unlike any other. Your formative years came in the digital era after the invention of the iPhone. So why is everyone so excited about your generation? Because you have the means to do things that no one else has the ability to do. Your brains are wired differently, with information always at your fingertips. A nonstop flow of information has led to a desire for high interactivity and immediacy, with the average individual your age switching back and forth between devices on average 27 times an hour. As a result, your brains have developed a unique ability to do multiple things at once, something the neuroscientists call continuous partial attention, something no other generation before you has the capacity to do. It's important that universities and business leaders understand these facts and that we begin to think differently about how we approach education and the work environments that we create to maximize the potential of your skills and capabilities. The second area that we're focused on is preparing you for the jobs of the future. We now live in a global economy, connected by the cloud with computers in the palms of our hands, powered by this concept of big data, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. These trends are having a profound impact on the types of industries and jobs we need to be building for today, or we will risk being left behind tomorrow. Whether it's the explosion and the growth of the gig economy, these are jobs like Uber and DoorDash. They represented 17% of the workforce 25 years ago. They're now 34% of all jobs today and well on their way to being 50% in the next 5 to 7 years. Or it's the growing demand for digital builders, where technology companies desperately seek the needs to hire skilled tool and die makers to build products like the iPhone. But estimates are you could take our entire nation's tool and die makers and fit them into one single basketball gymnasium. And this is compared to China, where it would take lots of football fields to house all of their skilled tool and die makers. As a nation, we have to prepare for these future jobs. We have to re-embrace and respect the industries that build things with our hands, which takes me to the third and final focus area: the skills needed to thrive in this future and the role that our education system can play in that preparation. To compete in this new world, there is a growing appreciation for the importance of STEAM: science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. Just as your parents learned how to write in cursive, your generation and those that follow you will need to have a greater appreciation for coding, whether you choose to build apps and write code or you simply understand how it's done, so that we can become a nation of builders once again. But there's another skill that's equally, if not more important than coding, and that's what you're here to practice today. It's known as design thinking, and it is the foundation for building entrepreneurial skills. 50% of the world's workforce works in a small business or a startup. 75% of all new jobs are created in these small businesses and startups. They are the backbone of the global economy, and they're even more so in the Appalachian region. But at today's pace of disruptive change, succeeding is an exercise in constant contingency planning, and you have to think of all possible solutions. In fact, 90% of the startups that succeed in the Silicon Valley actually struck gold on an idea completely different than the one they originally started out to build. These are the very skills you're going to be learning and applying throughout this competition, and they will become the skills that universities increasingly need to teach as we reimagine our academic approaches going forward. More importantly, they're the skills that your future employers are now seeking. They are the ones that will create entrepreneurs. They're also the ones that will create an opportunity for you to thrive in large companies. And this will level the playing field for every state like West Virginia, and will increase the odds of success for small business owners, and they will overcome that 50% failure rate in the first 5 years. The secret to success is now in your hands. Hands-on design thinking. This is hypothesis-driven thinking that develops rapid prototypes, where you embrace the mindset of failing fast so you can succeed faster. And in doing this, you'll get a greater appreciation for doing versus debating, and you'll be able to actually prove things in market with evidence versus simply spreadsheets and assumptions. And the moment has come. Through your participation, you now possess the playbook containing these proven techniques that the most brilliant innovators in the world have developed. And it's now up to you to help write the next chapter for your personal success, for the state of West Virginia, and for the world. And the best news of all, there will be no losers in this competition. Every individual who practices and applies these techniques will walk away with the life skills necessary to start your own business or to rise through the ranks of any major global business that you choose to work for. So my suggestion to you is to lean in, embrace successes, and embrace setbacks equally as an opportunity to learn, but most importantly, put your dent in the universe. Let's do this, team. Thank you and good luck.
How fortunate are we to have someone like Mr. Smith as a distinguished alumni and leader for this university? We are so fortunate, and I want to thank Mr. Smith, although he can't hear me, for taking time to make this video and laying the foundation for tonight. Students, this is now your opportunity to make your way out into the foyer before we get started. While these students are making their way out, I'm going to go ahead and press on. This has already been a big year for the College of Business, and tonight is no short effort as we move forward in the rest of this year and all that we have happening here. The innovation stories that you are going to see tonight are vying for a chance to compete in the finals of the first ever WVIBMC, which is what we're doing here tonight. This is the preliminary effort for that. And all of this has been championed and organized by some of our own faculty and staff right here in the College of Business here at Marshall University. At stake tonight, the first, second, and third place groups are going to have the chance to present their projects to Brad Smith himself tomorrow And our first place winner advances to the final round of the competition that'll be taking place on April 6th. Trust me guys, they want to get there because that competition, the winner of that night, wins $5,000 cash and up to $10,000 in other prizes and incentives. To give you further information about the event on the 6th and the other events that are going to be taking place during the 50th anniversary of the College of Business, I'm now going to turn it over and welcome Dean Avi Mukherjee.
Good evening. I just wanted, on behalf of the Lewis College of Business, to welcome everyone here. This is our first year of the West Virginia Innovation and Business Model Competition. It's too loud. This is our first year of the West Virginia Innovation and Business Model Competition, and I wanted to provide a little backdrop to how this all started. In 2017, Intuit, Brad Smith, who you just saw, came to Marshall. He's one of our most illustrious alumni, as you know, and really did something here on our campus that we would never forget. And that is a competition, a student competition called the Design for Delight, which brought several Marshall teams together to solve real social problems that we experience in this state. The end result of that was our understanding of a methodology called design thinking that Brad spoke about in the video that you just saw. And what we tried to do based on that is to create a sustainable enterprise that would be able to take design thinking forward and propagate it across the state. The result of that was the I Center. Two of our most energetic professors, Ben Eng and Olin York, put their ideas together and their thoughts together to create a center called the I Center, the Center for Entrepreneurship and Business Innovation, that went on to create an infrastructure of providing business solutions and startup solutions to companies and individuals in the state, as well as to seed ideas for new business and innovation. In my mind, I Center is a dream to think out of the box and embrace risks, a dream to disrupt, innovate, and challenge the status quo, a dream to solve societal and business problems, a dream to turn adversity into economic prosperity, a dream to seek rapid experimentation and pivot failure to success, a dream to bring different constituents and stakeholders together. And I think what brings this dream to reality is this competition, the WVIBMC. What this competition is all about is slightly different from many other competitions that we normally see in the world of business schools. This competition is about a business model as opposed to a business plan. It uses design thinking as opposed to other methods of solving business problems. And it's a decentralized model of local competitions in each partner school leading up to the final presentations on Marshall campus on April 6th, Saturday, April 6th. What we are seeing as a process is our new ideas for business ventures as well as social enterprises across the state to encourage innovation and building of disruptive and scalable startups. I would like to thank our I-Center co-directors again, Dr. Ben Eng and Olin York, and our adjunct faculty, Jeremy Turner, who is also closely associated with the I-Center, for working tirelessly to bring this event to students across the state. I appreciate the support of fellow deans across West Virginia business schools who all work together with us to make this event a statewide competition. And I also want to thank entrepreneurship faculty members across institutions from the state of West Virginia who have imbibed and propagated the business model canvas to their students, who we will see again on April 6th right on our campus. Please join us in celebrating this great meeting of minds, young minds participating in this exciting competition. I'm sure that we will see ideas today that will become big business hits in the future. Thank you.
I mean, I can talk loud, but
You need this.
Okay, before we get to seeing the presentations that will be taking place this evening, I have the honor of getting to introduce to you our judges panel, who have a very challenging job tonight. They are going to be very carefully listening to these innovation stories and taking critical notes, and then they'll have the really tough job of deliberating who gets to move on to our final round on the 6th. So let me start introducing our judges tonight. Our first judge is Mr. Patrick Farrell. He is the founder and president of Savage Grant, an impact investment firm committed to growing businesses throughout Appalachia. He's also the co-founder of Mountain Point, a cloud technology consulting firm working to revitalize and modernize U.S. manufacturing, and Central App, a marketplace connecting companies with tech talent in Appalachia. He serves as the president of Service Pump and Supply, which helps companies and communities solve their stormwater, wastewater, and freshwater management problems. He is the founder and president of West Virginia Veterans, Inc., and co-founder of Appalachian Connection, a nonprofit that supports future leaders in Appalachia by helping ease the financial burdens of higher education. Mr. Farrell also serves as a board member for the West Virginia Chamber of Commerce, St. Joseph Catholic School, and the privately held Portable Solutions Group. He also serves as a gubernatorial appointment as a member of the Marshall University Board of Governors. He's a decorated combat veteran, graduate of the United States Air Force Academy, and earned his MBA from Duke University Fuqua School of Business. If you would please welcome Mr. Patrick Farrell. Our second judge tonight is Mr. Devin Gregg. Devin Gregg is a recent graduate of the Marshall University Lewis College of Business. He transitioned from Marshall University graduate to an Amazon CNS team manager at the Huntington, West Virginia facility and the Amazon Customer Service Unit. Please help me welcome Mr. Devin Gregg. Our next judge is Ms. Sarah Payne Scarborough. She's a proud daughter of Marshall University. While at Marshall, she studied journalism with a concentration in public relations and political science. She served in both the state and federal government, working for 2 governors, and she also served as Deputy State Director and Senior Advisor to U.S. Senator Manchin. As Associate VP for External Engagement, Sarah builds partnerships and connections with community, business, education, and governmental leaders. She received the PRSA West Virginia 2010 Public Relations Practitioner of the Year Award, and Sarah was also named one of 40 under 40 statewide leaders by the State Journal. She serves on the board for the PRSA East Central District, the Community Relations Council of Charleston, Job Corps, the Public Relations Committee for the Junior League of Huntington, the My Huntington Committee, and Marshall University School of Journalism and Mass Communications Alumni Advisory Board. Please welcome Ms. Sarah Payne Scarborough. Our next judge is Ms. Diana Soul. Diana is a veteran of the communication industry, serving as the CEO of Motion Masters since 1988. With more than 3 decades in the communication industry, she's led innumerable public relations, advertising, marketing, and political campaigns designed to educate, motivate, and persuade. Her leadership has earned her accolades such as the State Journal's Who's Who in West Virginia Business Award and the prestigious Ernst Young Entrepreneur of the Year Award. In addition to leading Motion Masters, Diana is very active in her community. She's a past president of the Board of Directors for Habitat for Humanity of Kanawha Putnam. And in 2015, she was elected chairwoman of the Charleston Regional Chamber of Commerce, the largest regional chamber of commerce in West Virginia. The organization represents more than 600 businesses and their 40,000 employees. Please help me welcome Ms. Diana Soul. Our next judge is Jason Quell. He started at Amazon in July 2015 as a customer service manager at the Huntington, West Virginia site, was promoted to operations manager, and is now the senior site leader. Outside of work, he has 4 children, originally from Minnesota, and my favorite part of his bio, they have a pretty intense family dance-offs in the living room. Everyone, please help me welcome Mr. Jason Quell. Originally, Marshall University alumnus Karen Kimsey-Sword was going to be joining us. Unfortunately, she was unable to join, but we look forward to seeing her in the near future at other Lewis College of Business and Entrepreneurship endeavors. Guys, these judges do have an easy task tonight. They have a pretty extensive rubric that they're going to be working from, but what the judges are looking for is that each of these teams have identified a problem, a narrow problem with a unique solution, and that they utilize those design thinking practices that Brad himself mentioned. So now, if everyone's ready, judges, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, all right. I think it is about time that we start bringing in our first group. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce to you our very first group that will be presenting tonight. This is Stone Cold Inventors. This is Hannah Revore, Nathan Redmond, and Matthew Hoffman. That's good.
Okay, hi everyone, we're Stone Cold Inventors. My name's Hannah, I'm gonna kind of start us off here. So when we first formed our team, we realized that a commonality between all of us was the food and beverage industry. Nathan and I have both worked in the industry, and Matt plans on being a leader in it one day. So we thought that we would take this time to kind of leverage our passion and our past experiences and just us being everyday consumers of that and kind of put that to work. So it wasn't difficult for us to kind of brainstorm some problems right off the bat. And we noticed that when we started talking with other people, they were kind of reporting very similar themes and experiences that they had. It did vary slightly, which is why we decided to kind of separate our data based on what consumers were saying and what business owners were saying. And this is what we found. The top problems reported for consumers were incorrect orders, and then followed by heavy wait times, cleanliness, quality matching price. And then on the business side, it was staffing, menu matching quality, inconsistent service, and marketing. We figured that with all these things, we kind of had something worth solving here, and that's when we decided to set our mission as being to provide the most unique dining experience for consumers to enjoy, but for business owners to benefit from having. And that led us to developing our product, Conveyor Cuisine.
Conveyor Cuisine is a restaurant concept involving a touchscreen table, or multiple touchscreen tables, a conveyor belt food delivery system, as well as a unique food packaging bowl. The touchscreen allows the customer to surf the menu and eventually place their order. As you can see in the picture, we have a table on the left, a conceptual table, and then also the ordering apparatus that'll come up on the screen. Automated ordering puts an emphasis on order accuracy and in turn customer satisfaction. The business will benefit from less need for wait staff and in turn lower payroll expenses long term. Once the kitchen is notified of the order, they'll prepare the food and then place the food packaging on the conveyor belt system, which will bring the food directly to the customer based on an order number and seat number that'll be sent to the conveyor belt system from the touchscreen software. No longer will food sit under a hot lamp and wait for the wait staff to bring it out to the table, which will increase customer satisfaction because they'll get their food faster. And it'll also increase table turnaround for the restaurant, meaning more customers are coming in and out, meaning more revenue. Originally, we planned to do some kind of suction system, as you can see on the right-hand side of the picture. This was the reason that we had to create a bowl or a food packaging bowl that would be spherical and not allow anything to spill when it was moving throughout the suction system. But after research and deliberation amongst the team, we figured that the conveyor belt system would make more sense logistically. For the conveyor belt to run smoothly, we figured that a food packaging bowl would have to be created that would be reusable, durable, and sleek. Our bowl is spherically shaped, as you can see by the picture on the left. It opens like a clamshell, like this, and it also has a lid in the middle. The lid has two purposes. The first is to, when you open, so food from the top doesn't spill onto the food from the bottom. And then also, it houses a knife and a fork in it, or even a spoon, depending on the food that you order.
All right, so when we originally showed people our sketches and listened to their feedback, we realized that we needed to make changes to better fit consumer needs. Originally it was like when he mentioned the suction part, it was a light fixture that would come down from the ceiling. We had screen kiosks that sit in front of each customer, and then there was no system in place to make sure that the food went to the correct customer. Once we listened to their feedback, we made changes appropriately just so that we could we made changes so that we could just figure out the problems and just go on from there. So we came up with an estimate of what it would cost in order to implement this into a restaurant. So assuming that we had a restaurant with 15 4 to 6 person tables, it would cost roughly $40,000 just to implement the conveyor belt system and about $300 per month to maintain it. The second part is the touchscreen tables. Each table starts at about $1,200 and goes up depending on the number of seats that you add to each table. And then just to update and service each table would cost about $100 per month. And finally, our food packaging system, it would just cost us about $2.30 per bowl. So moving forward, we plan on prototyping this. When we put our sketches in front of people, we really got a lot of good feedback, and a lot of people told us that this was a really cool concept and they would be interested in testing it out. So we really would like to get this into a restaurant and just see how it goes. And I would like to thank you for your time, and at this time we would take any questions you have.
Well, let me start. Is the mic on? There we go. Let me start the questions by asking this question. There's been a trend in the restaurant business towards delivery and away from actual having your meals in an actual restaurant. How does that impact what your plan is?
Cool. I'll grab this question if that's okay with you. So essentially, we have kind of toyed with the idea of our unique packaging bowl just being a to-go container already. We won't really be able to solve sort of the delivery, I would say, unless our concept kind of went further and we offered that as an option. But for now, we kind of had toyed with the idea of instead of whenever it comes down and they take it, they would have the option to take it with them or return it back to the restaurant to use as recycling. So.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I was a waitress for 10 years, working my way through high school and college, so kudos to everyone that is in the food industry. Looking at this, okay, so you touch the screen, you order, the food comes. Cleanup, because staffing was an issue for the owners. So did you think about that process? Like, would they clean up after themselves? Would you still have a crew to come in?
So we did think about that. Thank you for the question. There would still be the need for waiters and waitresses to come out and bring drinks to the tables, as well as table busters to come out and clean the table once they're done. So that is part of the cost that the restaurant will still be incurring. But other than that, there really won't be a need for any traditional wait staff. And that'll be a cost that the restaurant will be able to kind of essentially get rid of.
And just to add to that also, so the conveyor belt system, it brings the food and the plates to the customers, but when they're done, they also have the option where they can put it back on and it would just go back to the kitchen, just the opposite way.
Okay.
Did any of the restaurants you talked to mention anything about what happens if the conveyor belt system goes down?
I think I can answer. Honestly, no. I think that might just be from like a bias standpoint that you think like, here's our product, don't worry, it's perfect. But that's definitely not the case. We did have inside the screen a call for help. So if there was a problem within it, that kind of would be it. But sort of the concept is the restaurant itself. So I guess if the conveyor belt system went down, then I guess the restaurant itself would go down.
Through all the process, what was the most surprising thing that you didn't expect when you started, that you found?
I think I can answer if that's good with you. I think for us, whenever we initially started, our like original kind of emphasis was on waste And really what we had thought of was that suction that we were talking about. And essentially, whenever you were finished, like if you had used a napkin or something, you could just throw it up the suction. And we kind of thought that that would lead to like increase in dessert sales. It was that specific that we started off with. And then the more that we kind of dove into it, we were like, wait a minute, we need to step back and when we started talking to people, there were much bigger problems than dessert sales. So I think that was probably the most surprising for us. Changed our product completely. Hey, Jason.
Hey, would you be willing to go back to your problem statement?
Yeah. Yeah, clicker. I mentioned this one? Or the original problems?
I'd like to see both if I could, please.
Okay.
So I'm trying to think through your problem statement and the solution that you have. I think it's kind of interesting. It's like kind of a novel approach, right? So you're, from the restaurant side, you're cutting cost through reducing wait staff, right? And so you're still going to have staff there. So I have one question there about like, why did you choose that part of cost cutting versus maybe some other parts where you could do automation? Because you've got an element of automation here. For the other part, it looks like from the consumer portion, you're solving for incorrect orders, right? So you feel like this might be more precise and taking out a human element to that. So like, how would you measure the efficacy of this system?
Loaded question. I think the beginning, I would say, can I keep going? Okay, so for the beginning, I think that our goal wasn't to completely like eliminate the staff because we still want to have, you know, that like personal experience, but kind of cut that down. But a lot of it was just staffing inconsistency. It wasn't that they didn't mind having people there, it was just that they couldn't rely on them a lot of times. Yeah. So they were coming in late, people were calling off, or scheduling, so they didn't know how many people they would have. And I'm sure, Sarah, you said that you were a waitress. The same thing happened to us. Some people would get cut, we would get a huge influx, and it just kind of, we couldn't deliver the food fast enough. Sure. So that was kind of the first part that we were tackling, was staffing, not eliminating, but just kind of cutting down the risk. And then for the second part, I would say you were talking about the consumer's problems.
Yeah, so you're measuring or efficacy, right? Like, how are you measuring that?
Sure. So what we were trying to do is eliminate sort of human error, so it would sort of be less, because how it worked whenever I was there, whenever I was like a waitress, I would go back and type in my orders, and a lot of times I got it wrong. What this is, it's already digitized. So sort of what we were trying to, I don't know about measure, but in a way just like tackle is eliminating a little bit of that human error. So,
yeah, thanks, guys.
Does that answer? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. That was great. Okay, it's now time to introduce our second team. This is Court Case. This is Chloe Papa, Brennan Tibbs, Shafial Ghamdi, Soyun Park, and William Wilson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chloe, and we are Court Case. Sorry about that. All right. So, who has ever had this problem before? Okay, yeah, a lot of us, I would assume. So I know that whenever I wear my headphones, I will crumble them up, throw them in my backpack, or I'll throw them in my pocket, and whenever I pull them out, they're in a big knot. It's really inconvenient, it's really time consuming, and it just makes me kind of angry. So what's our mission? Well, our mission is to provide a portable, affordable product that minimizes stress and saves time and is also convenient for customers. So our problem again, tangled headphones. They're time consuming, they're prone to shorting and breakage, and they are often misplaced. Customers describe this issue as frustrating, inconvenient, and expensive to replace, whether that be buying another set of headphones or trying to buy some type of case that would keep them from getting tangled. So our solution would be creating a product that will prevent these tangles, prevent breakage and knotting and loss of headphones. So our design, it is a recoil design, comes in a compact case to prevent tangling. You just want to go ahead and pull that for me. So you can pull the headphones out and they recoil back. What we would like to add to this product would be a keychain to be able to hook to your backpack or your purse, so that would prevent the loss issue. And we would also like to make these customizable for businesses to sell in bulk or offer out to their employees. So there's a couple other examples, one with a keychain. Another thing that we would like to add would be a button. Instead of, this has a little hook on the inside, we would like to add a button because some of the people that we interviewed said that they were worried about the hook breaking. So that was one of the problems that we had there. So we interviewed 30 people within these customer segments. They were working class, older generations, and college students. We sat down with the customers one-on-one and asked them a list of open-ended questions. We gained insights about their wants and needs with this kind of product and showed them different photos of prototypes. I ordered those prototypes and we showed them. And once we acquired these, we interviewed 10 additional people. So of the 30 customers, 27 out of 30 said that they would purchase our product online for convenience sake. 21 out of 30 used social media and would share their experience with our product on this platform. All customer segments were willing to pay $10 to $15 just to keep the quality good while also keeping it kind of reasonably priced. Some of our pivots and changes, a tangible prototype is needed. Like I said before, we just had pictures. People really like to hold the product in their hand to know if it's something that they would like to purchase or not. Selling the product in stores wouldn't be advantageous for target markets, which I found kind of funny because whenever I interviewed people, they wanted a tangible product, but they didn't want to go into a store to buy it. So some of our next steps, we would like to seek investors for our product. We would need to contact a design team and a manufacturer to turn our prototype into a tangible product. We would need to retest target markets, patent our product, and if we advance to the finals, we would envision using the prize money to fund for these needed materials, advertisement, and payroll. So some of our lessons learned. Finding a manufacturer and a design team is key to a functional product. Like I said, adding a button to this or adding a keychain. Those would all make this a little bit more functional and a little bit more likely to not break. The cost of materials needs to be low in order to make a profit on this product while also not compromising quality. A physical prototype is definitely needed for this type of testing. Price range between 10 and 15 is optimal for our target markets, and social media promotion is going to be really important to spark interest in our product for larger populations. Thank you.
Thanks for the presentation, it was good.
Thank you.
Your solution solves the cord problem by wrapping up the cord.
Mm-hmm.
Why not get rid of the cord and use cordless earbuds?
Well, whenever we tested our target markets, we realized that college students might not be able to afford wireless headphones. Those cost hundreds of dollars. Older generations might be used to the cord headphones. They don't necessarily want to try like AirPods or other headphones like that that are wireless. They just want to stick with what they know. So that's why we came up with this design, so that we could satisfy people that can't afford it or people that just don't want to.
Good, thanks.
It's pretty interesting. I'm curious on your price point. So I pay about $10 for my earbuds because I don't like to pay a lot of money for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like the cost of the product competes with the cost of like earbuds, right? And the functionality of them. Like, so how did you think about that? And I really liked how you thought about like where you do the manufacturing and how you would be cost efficient with that. Like, Is there a possibility to get that price point lower to make it more advantageous?
That's a good question. So we were thinking about that too, and whenever we talk to other people, you know, Apple headphones cost around 30.
Okay.
So you can get cheaper headphones, but whenever you tangle up those headphones, those are the ones that are more prone to breakage.
Okay.
So people are almost willing to pay the same amount for the headphones that they buy in order to keep them from breaking, so that they wouldn't have to continually buy new ones.
How do you hope to gauge your competition with products that hope to accomplish the same thing? Have you thought about that step following, you know, the actual implementation of your product?
We haven't actually thought that far, but that's a good question. I guess we would just focus more on like what our customers would want and need in order to progress that further.
Have you given any consideration to competitors who would see a product like this and come out in the market with something similar?
There actually is products similar. We actually looked on Amazon just to see. And there's products similar, but they don't have things like the button, or they're actually prone to breakage. We saw reviews, they said they're made cheaply, they're this, they're that. So we just would like to make more positive things out of the things that they said weren't good. Basically, that's where we're gonna go with it.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. You did a great job. Okay, our next team, this is Link Up. This is Andrew Gerald, Xander Wagner, Lydia Bunner, and Matt Beardall. Please welcome to the stage, Link Up.
Good evening, everyone. We are Link Up. Here at Link Up, we believe that social media has really desensitized and disconnected society as a whole. Our goal at Link Up is to create a social media app that will bring the people back together, connect the people, and bring positive change to our community. Our mission is to connect people through social media and technology to promote community and organized physical activity. Our purpose is to construct an app that allows people to join together, foster friendships, and engage in physical activities. Our problem that we decided was a lack of entertainment here in Huntington, West Virginia. We really got our boots to the ground. We went out in the community and we talked to people. We also made some online surveys through SurveyMonkey, and there was a big consensus of the people that we talked to that there's a lack of entertainment here in Huntington. As you can see, 92% of the people that we talked to felt that there was a lack of entertainment. So we really feel like that's a market that we can tap into. For our groundwork interviews, our idea changed a lot throughout this entire process. Our original goal was to try to bring a professional sports team right here to West Virginia. We dreamed big, we dreamed bold, but there was a lot of hurdles with that. We talked to people and we came to the conclusion that it just wasn't the right market for it. So we adjusted our idea and we modified our solution. But throughout the entire process, we stayed consistent with what we thought the problem was, and we stayed consistent with our mission and our values. During our market analysis of the people that we spoke to throughout this entire process, we found that 94% of the people enjoy participating in some sort of physical activities like pickup basketball, pickup softball, volleyball, what have you. And yet 55% of these people that we talk to struggle with finding people to play with, whether it's in a league or just pick up at the rec. So we really feel like this is a market that we can penetrate into with relative ease, especially right here in Huntington, where there's an abundance of young college-age people that understand technology, enjoy technology. We really think like we have a great target market right here in West Virginia, and specifically in Huntington. Our design thinking process was a long one. It was definitely challenging. We had a lot of changes throughout the process. Like I said, we originally planned on trying to bring a pro sports team here to West Virginia. Unfortunately, we had a $1 billion idea with about a $100 budget, and it faded pretty fastly. And then we decided to try creating a recreational facility that can host like pickup games like basketball or volleyball. And we realized that we would still need quite the budget to build that building. So then after that, we moved on to sports game coordination and event planning. And we talked to people, and then we realized, we finally, like a light bulb went off in our head, that we can cut out all the legwork and get straight to the means of our end with LinkUp app. The LinkUp app does everything that we wanted, but it really scales it to fit for the Huntington area. And as you'll see on the presentation, there's a quote there by Henry Ford that I think really characterizes our experience and our journey well, because we failed 3 times. 3 times we failed, but each time, like, we learned something that we were able to improve on and work on in our next plan. Our solution is to leverage social media and technology to contribute a positive impact on our community via athletics. And it's also to supply users with the means of coordinating and organizing their athletic activity experience. We don't just want LinkUp to be an app that will coordinate your pickup sporting events. We think that's great, but we want it to be an overall experience. We want LinkUp to allow you to meet new people, try new things, go to places. We want to create a great experience for the user. We have a model. We made a functioning website that kind of models what we want to do with the app. As you can see, that's the home page. I'll briefly take you through it. Through 5 simple steps, you can get connected with people in your community to play a game of pickup basketball or pickup volleyball, whatever pickup sports you're interested in. The first step is you need to sign up with your name, your email. And as you can see, we have 6 different sports currently available, offered to the user to use. The next step is we really want to personalize your experience. We try to find the demographics like your age, your gender, also what sports you're interested in the most or where you would like to play at around Huntington. The next is the feedback. Once you complete the experience, we're going to ask the user to give us some feedback. That's really going to help us improve our product because we want to be consistently improving, and it also is going to help the user personalize their experience more. So it's kind of a win-win for both parties. Our next steps is we want to create the prototype with the app because we think the website is great, but the app is going to have a lot more use in today's digital world. Then we want to test the prototype. It's important to test it because there's just so many apps out there, and it's really important to simplify it and make sure it's user-friendly. And then we want to review the results to make sure everything's functioning correctly and giving the user the experience that we want to give them. The lessons learned, we made a lot of assumptions, specifically with the pro sports team in West Virginia. We assumed that we'd be able to bring out a big crowd many nights a year. That wasn't the case. We assumed that people would be okay with their taxes being raised to pay for the team. That wasn't the case. So we made a lot of wrong assumptions. And another thing we've learned is the responses from the website that we've created. We've gotten really positive reviews from people that have used it. The only thing that we probably need to improve on is they want more than just the 6 sports that are currently offered. There's a whole laundry list full of sports that people enjoy playing, and they want those added to it. And then our final lesson learned was additional activities. Also through talking to the people that tested our website and used our website, they think that the pickup sports is great, but the possibilities are limitless. I mean, you can potentially use LinkUp to connect people in all sorts of different ways and all sorts of different activities or events. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the presentation. Can you go back to the problem that you're solving?
Yeah, sure.
And talk about the process you used to determine that what the problem was, how big the problem was, and how much of an impact you could have on it?
Pretty much the problem was people of any age around here have a problem with finding something to do, whether it be a physical activity or just go to the movies. So we decided to combine that with a physical app, since technology is...
Right, so specifically my question is, how did you determine that that was a problem? Did you
Oh,
survey people?
The survey we determined...
Tell me about the survey.
The survey, we pretty much asked, like, if you think there's a lack of entertainment, and if you would like to see anything done, and if so, what would you like to see? And a lot of people like to play sports and have fun playing pickup games, so that's where we decided to go from this route, is to go into this
How
app.
many people did you ask?
We asked 40 people, and let's see, I believe it was 92% of them feel like there's like... Oh yeah, and then we also asked people in the community just about this.
Were these all Marshall students?
We
Were they
had the
older
range
people?
of about 16 years old to about 42, I believe, was oldest. So
people older than 42 don't want to play sports?
well, I mean, they do, but it just depends on. We didn't ask the older, like
The older like me?
43.
I got you.
There's, I think, 4 slides on the other side of this where you talk about the customer experience. A few more, a couple more. One more, please. Okay, so in here you talked about evaluate. I love the thought of looking at the customer experience and doing this cycle of continuous improvement, right? I think that's pretty cool. How are you going to go back and approach that problem with data? Like, so when I look at this, and I love the sentiment, right? Like you're going to continuously evaluate your business and how effective it is. Like, what from here is going to tell you in the future how it's successful and how it's not successful? How are we going to be able to glean these from these field settings?
So how will we take this data and make our product better?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, go back a few slides. So from these sports, we're going to be able to, or from the first when you sign up, you fill up your favorite hobbies. So from that, if you have a hobby, without even seeing what we offer, you're going to type in hobbies that you like or don't like. So from that, we'll be able to group more people into activities and expand because of that. And then from these questions right here, we can find popular venues and popular times to then push more like sponsorships into people that want to set up tournaments in the future.
How are they rating the experiment? Sorry guys. How are they rating the experience though? Is there some kind of more like stars or like thumbs up, thumbs down? Like where does that?
There's just going to be, go to the next one real quick, please. Right there, you rate your scale, you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. What's
it's like a Likert scale.
Yeah,
Okay.
so pretty much from that, we'll be able to get a pretty good idea of what your experience was and any complaints or positives that you had.
Can you go back to the slide that shows the sports, the pictures?
Yeah, go back one more.
So how did you come up, I might have another question here. My first question is, how did you come up with those sports?
Those were the most popular sports from our surveys and data collecting that people said they enjoyed playing with friends and family.
Okay, so the idea is that I'm gonna go golf, and I want 3 other people to golf with me.
Right.
So I'd go in and compete.
You'd go in, build your profile that we have on the first step, and then you go to the next, go to the next one quick. You go to the next one, you'd select golf, and then the time and day, and the question mark by the time of day is day and then a time slot.
So the idea is like, what if I'm doing like a fundraiser and I want like hundreds of people to come out?
You would have,
is that a capability for that?
We don't have the capability on this prototype, but with the app, we were hoping to build in social media engagement such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram to share your event with others on your page.
And did you consider moving forward, since you were talking about event planning, and I've planned a couple events in my day, like the insurance component for special events?
Yes, we did.
And if you're liable for that?
Like, the way we would have to do this, if, say you go to the YMCA and set up an event, we would have to get the permission to fill out the waiver liability just from the YMCA. And at that point, it would just be like we are guests in the facility. So we're not actual hosts per se, but we're just guests.
All right, thank you very much. Our next team is Creating Greener Solutions. This is Elizabeth Morgan and Brandon Well.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. We are Creating Greener Solutions, and our mission is to create a new social norm through eco-conscious products.
So the overall problem that we wanted to tackle was pollution, and then from there, plastic waste pollution specifically. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia, and this is a huge problem in our environment. Over the course of the past 10 years, we've had an increasing issue with no swim advisories in our waters, especially in the summer, because plastic waste kills off aquatic animals, and that normally eats off the bacteria that is unsafe for humans. For plastic waste, we wanted to focus on single-use plastic straws, specifically because of the shape of the straw that is a very environmental hazard and is also dangerous, especially to aquatic animals. So our process started with the idea of manufacturing and wholesale of biodegradable and edible straws. So we looked at our competitors and we found a few. We found Starbucks sells cookie straws for Frappuccinos. We found Slurpees sell candy straws for their Slurpees, and we found cereal straws. So then that's when we decided that we would have to focus predominantly on a business-to-business market as opposed to a business-consumer market. From there, we decided instead of doing a manufacturing and wholesale of these products, we would move to a machine or a mold that would flash freeze the contents of each person's drink, so your straw would be customizable to your drink.
Following this, we decided that due to regulations that handles with certain chemical compounds such as liquid nitrogen and carbon dioxide sludge, that we move to either a metal or silicone mold that could be put into a conventional freezer and frozen overnight. Following our testing with a traditional freezer, we found that we couldn't get the structure or the durability that we wanted from using a traditional freezer, so we moved back to the concept of flash freezing. After a consultation with a metallurgist, we determined that an aluminum alloy would be our best course of action because it maintains the coldest temperatures and will be the most durable over a long period of time.
Like Brandon mentioned, we did some testing this week. So we decided to take large plastic straws that you would normally use for a smoothie or bubble tea, and we decided to try to freeze some sodas, iced coffee, and smoothies. This did not work how we planned. It did freeze, but it was not the consistency and the durability that we needed to use the straw, and it melted really fast. So this was kind of the difference between ice cream and Dippin' Dots. Dippin' Dots that are frozen with liquid nitrogen are more structured and they stay structured longer, whereas ice cream, which is frozen in a conventional freezer, does not keep its consistency for a long period of time.
Currently, our ideal prototype would be a 12-inch by 12-inch metal box, which would be loaded into, or would be top loaded with the contents of whatever drink you would want. This would then be flash frozen using whatever chemical compound we could determine, and then once flash frozen, would then be able to open the top lid and then quickly eject and smoothly eject the straw.
So after surveying and interviewing customers of specialty drink shops, we did find out that there is in fact a demand for this kind of product, and consumers are concerned with environmental issues. However, they do put the responsibility on businesses to provide them with an alternative to plastic straws. They do not want to put the pressure on themselves to make this kind of change. We also discovered that there was a concern for overall durability and duration, and we tested that this week using the plastic straws in the conventional freezer. We also got remarks back from customers that this is a trendy way to combat an environmental issue and that it could be a trending social media platform as well.
Now our assumptions that we were able to validate. We found that there was an overwhelming interest in this concept, as well as an increased level of individuals who are interested and concerned with the environment, specifically the sea turtles that are greatly impacted by plastic waste. And then we also determined that molds that could not be flash frozen would not work with our product.
So our next steps are further research and development on this product. We have settled on aluminum because it's cheaper than other metals that we've looked at. And then we are between the carbon dioxide slush and the liquid nitrogen. Coming with that are regulations on both of those products, and we have to research further on how businesses would obtain these regulations to be able to use them in their stores. And then of course the price would come based on these regulations and how this would affect the business, but the aluminum alloy would be the cheapest option that we have found so far.
And finally, if we were to reach further stages of this competition, if we were able to win the prize money, we would want to create a small allocation towards promotion of getting people to understand what our concept is. We would want to do further research and development, because this is the most important stage that we're in. And then finally, consulting an engineer to smooth out a design, as well as create and generate a design pattern.
All right, thank you.
Could you just do a deeper dive in regards to explain which businesses you reached out to, how many?
Sure. So we did a lot of surveying within random students and of course family and friends. The interviews that we did were actually at specialty restaurants. So Starbucks, smoothie places, frozen yogurt places, and then the faux noodle place that sells bubble tea as well. So it would be customers of specialty drink shops.
So do I understand correctly that the specialty drink shops then would make these straws on site themselves?
Yes, it would be part of their prep kitchen. So stores would buy this product that would be able to flash freeze hopefully 10 to 20 straws at a time, and it would conveniently go in their prep kitchen to freeze these items, and it wouldn't take longer than it would take to make your drink.
Thanks for the presentation. So it seems like you did a really nice job getting anecdotal information from customers and what customers might like. Be interested to see that data right now. But also, did you spend any time talking to the owners, proprietors of the specialty shops about what they might want in such a product?
Yes, we actually reached out to a couple small business owners in Virginia Beach area who currently use paper straws as opposed to plastic straws. Unfortunately, they have not gotten back to us yet.
Okay.
So we're still waiting to hear back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Our next group is Brain Gain. This is Charity Leap and Annika Benke.
Thank you. We are Brain Gain. Our problem is brain drain. Brain drain occurs when West Virginia students get educated, graduate, and leave the state for better opportunity. This consequently harms West Virginia as a whole, both our businesses and our communities. We are one of the only states whose population is declining. We are in the top 5 poorest states in America. The other day, I was in this professional speaker series here on campus, and I'm a West Virginia native, so I sat there and listened to the question, how many of you plan on staying in the state after you graduate? Only 3 people raised their hands. To me, that proves our problem exists, and we need to solve it. So our mission is bridging the gap between students and businesses to promote a higher standard of business practice in West Virginia. We plan on doing this through
our service, which will connect students to local businesses under the guidance of alumni. This is our prototype. So as you can see, there's the student's name, their information, and what they specialize in. And then there's also a little button right there to click on if the business is interested. And then to start our iterations, we got a list of baseline information. So we did surveys. We surveyed both businesses and students. These are our business survey results. So we asked businesses, how comfortable are you receiving help from college students? 75% of them said that they were very comfortable. We also asked them, would you rather use an app or a website for a service? But these results on the survey were more 50-50. They did say that they preferred in-person guidance by 75%. 25% were okay with online guidance. Okay. We also did student surveys. Our student surveys, 73% of our students preferred a website versus 27% who preferred a app. And then we also interviewed them and asked them
so after we had gotten our student surveys, we moved into our iterations. And so for our first iteration, we had originally said that we wanted, that we were going to have Brain Game as an app, and it was going to be an app so that students could access it more easily. And we were going to have these students connect with businesses online this way, and the students would be able to go provide help in person with businesses. And it was alumni were going to be providing guidance through an online chat system that we were going to implement into our app. And then after this point, we moved into our second iteration, which was after we had interviewed a Marshall alumni. And she is someone who had gone to Marshall but had to leave the state because there wasn't enough opportunity for her here, which is exactly the problem that we're trying to solve. And so we had decided to move Brain Gain into both an app and a website because she had felt that a website would be more easy for her to access. And we also decided to shift away from our online messaging system into a 1 to 2 hour phone call or video chat meeting once a week, because she had expressed that she really wanted to give back to our community. However, she did not feel like she had a whole lot of time to commit, and if she was going to be committing any time, she wanted to make sure that she was making the best use of it possible. And so we felt that using a video chat or a phone call would be the best way to get a personal connection and to get personalized advice on how to solve these problems. And we also decided that we were going to use an email system to give more advice on business problems that the students were facing as they were working with businesses. However, our alumni would be able to get to these in her free time instead of having to commit more time to working on our project. And we had decided at this point that we were still going to go with having it be non-paid, that the students and the alumni would be working on a volunteer basis, because our alumni had said that she'd be more than willing to work without pay because she was just focused on trying to give back to our community. We had also considered at this point moving away from including small businesses into just being an alumni and student support service, where we would connect students and alumni to give them advice, and this would still solve our problem of knowledge leaving West Virginia. However, as we moved into our third iteration, which was after we interviewed a small business, they had said that they would really want to be involved and that us cutting them out of the app would really be a detriment to our project. And so after we had interviewed this small business, we decided to move into a tip-based service, because our business said that they would love to help pay students and to have them work for them. However, they wanted to be sure that the work that they were receiving was good work before they decided to pay for it. And we also had decided at this point that we were going to have them have an initial interview where the students could meet the small business, get a feel for how that was going to go, and assess the problem to make sure that it was something that they could solve before they ended up committing to something that they couldn't help with. And so after this, we moved into our conclusion, which is that small businesses really do want our help. We interviewed our small business, and they said that this would be something incredible for them. They had used to be able to hire Marshall students, However, because of the current economy, they were no longer able to afford to hire students full-time. And so having students being able to come in and working on their individual problem and then being able to pay them a one-time fee as opposed to having to hire them full-time would be something that would really greatly benefit them. We also decided at this point that we needed to move forward with our service as both an app and a website so that we could be accessible to the students as well as to the alumni and the small businesses. Going forward, we decided that in order to make our app as accessible to people as possible, we should fund it using advertisements as opposed to paying a flat fee in the beginning. That way we don't deter small businesses or students from using our service. We also decided that we needed to do more advertising in order to get more of a feel for the community so that they were more familiar with us, as well as the students being more familiar with us too. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks for the presentation. I think your problem is spot on, right? It is a hard thing here in West Virginia to keep folks here. You need to understand a little bit more about what your solution is, right? You identified brain drain as an issue, meaning we have students that go to school and then when they graduate, they leave.
Yes. So this is an idea that the alumni who leave, they can give guidance to the students who are still here, and the students can teach the businesses who can't afford them right now, and they can better themselves for the time being, and then they'll be able to afford more students going on and maybe keep students here, if that makes sense.
It did not, for me. You may have said it just right. Let me make sure I understand. So the reason students leave is because they don't have an opportunity, they don't have a job.
Yes.
And so what you're saying then is that the small businesses would get basically consulting from current students with help from alumni
Yes.
that would help improve their business so that they can keep
Hire students,
hire
yes.
students in the future.
Yes.
And then eventually the goal would be that alumni wouldn't have to leave anymore, that Huntington and West Virginia would be more of a hub of business because we have been working on improving it the entire time so that there would no longer be brain drain because students who are getting educated here would be able to stay here because they would have the opportunities that they need.
Okay, so let me ask a leading question. Small businesses right now, unemployment's very low, right? And have a hard time filling open jobs, right? And we have a lot of students leaving to go other places because they're not matching the students that could do the jobs with the open opportunities. Could your solution help solve that problem as well?
I think it could, especially if we make the connections with students and small businesses now, so that way if students, when they graduate, potentially if they had that connection with the small business prior to graduating, that they could end up getting a job with that small business.
We also were interested in, like, say they identify their problem as advertising and marketing. A student who specializes in that, they can say, okay, I'm going to help you advertise to our students here. So that way you're getting those people in. You're getting those people into the slots that are open, and the slots that can't exist yet will exist in the future.
What steps do you guys hope to take to identify alumni that would want to take part in such an activity, such an app program?
So one of the groups we're involved with is Delta Sigma Pi, and so we have access to a core group of alumni who are very, very interested in continuing to help support Marshall, as well as other business majors that we could get into contact with. Our idea is to keep it mostly within business majors, like to start with. So it would be a great way just to reach out to people as they're graduating and say, hey, this is something that you're able to do. If you still need to leave because you need to find that opportunity somewhere else, you can still be giving back to Marshall and to the West Virginia area.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. To follow up with what Patrick was saying, when you were making your presentation, I had it in my head that this was a workforce pipeline connection. We're taking talent, we're putting them in, and it would be a network. So each university or college would have their own network per se, and linking up with alumni, and they could chat, and maybe they could, keep them here in the state. So moving forward, maybe that is a next step to consider. So not only are you improving small businesses and what they can offer to keep talent in the state, but also on the back end, making that direct connection. Thank you.
How are you defining, thank you for the presentation, how are you defining, you have two groups that would essentially be your customer, right?
Yeah.
You have the businesses that might need a service, and you have students that might need a job. How are you defining the needs of each and matching them? Because in current state, it seems kind of free form, right? Do you have plans for being more targeted with each group?
I would say, so part of our prototype or our idea is to have the businesses select their specific problems. Each business is a different problem. And then the students themselves will say, well, this is my major, or this is what I specialize with in my major, so they can solve more problems as a whole.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Okay, our next team is Porch Pirate Anti-Theft. This is Brady White, Joseph Haskett, Allie Hogue, and Taylor Jeffries.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brady White, Joe Haskett. Our other two members couldn't be here today. They had work scheduling conflict. But to get started on things, I think it's important to clearly state our mission, our goal coming into this. And basically that is to prevent theft through innovative security solutions. And how did we get here? Most importantly, it started with a moment sitting around a family tradition, watching live PD in the evening. Now, something that is very, very dear to our household, and maybe some of you that aren't familiar with the show, for those that don't and haven't watched the show, there's a segment called Wanted. And what they do is they show a local crime, something that was committed within that week, and they try and ask the viewers if they have any information about it. Well, in this particular photo that you can see, a man stole $40,000 worth of rare cancer medicine right off of someone's front porch. Now, this may be an extreme example of what we would call porch pirating. I would use air quotes, but my hands are full. But this is a serious problem. And as online sales are increasing, so is this problem. Now, our first idea was, how could we have stopped this? Is there something that we could have done to prevent it, but at the same time, making it easy for the postal carriers to deliver their product? We didn't want to interrupt that process because what we saw was, as far as a barrier would go, how can we make a product that isn't going to interrupt taking the package from point A to point B while still keeping it secure? So our first iteration, we came up with more or less a flower bed, something that would stand upright, and it would be held down with water. Something very simple, easy to remove if you needed to. You could take out the water, drain it out. The water's in there to keep it in place so no one can run off with your package. We took this idea to some people that we had known, and they weren't really liking the idea. It was a little clunky. It didn't look very good on the porch, but we decided to stay with this whole furniture more or less for your porch. We wanted to keep it aesthetically pleasing, and we wanted it to have another function. So we stuck with that idea, and we decided to go with sort of like a bench with compartments down on the bottom where the package could be placed. It would have to be bolted down. But then we ran into another issue, and that's, what about people who aren't property owners? They're not allowed to modify the grounds in which they live. That's a whole segment that we're missing. People that are tenants, people that live in apartments. So we wanted to reach them too, and we realized that this was another failure. So we went back to the drawing board. This was what we thought was our golden goose. We thought it was an ingenious idea. putting bike locked more or less on the side so that it could be secured to maybe poles, fencing, something that a lot of apartments typically have, or it could also be bolted to the ground. It would have a keypad lock in the front. And we were so confident in this, we were moving way too far forward, to a point to where we were marketing this product, and we didn't realize that it wasn't that special. It wasn't that proprietary. Luckily, 2 days before this competition, we had a meeting with Dr. Benning, and he decided to tell us, this isn't that special. It was exactly what we needed to hear. It really was. And what it did was it reignited our innovation. We decided whenever we came out here that we were going to use innovative security solutions to solve our problem. How can we do that if we stopped? We stopped the process entirely. We were just trying to market something that wasn't ready to go. And so we've continued that process. This is more brainstorming. Is it our final product? No. And it shouldn't be. The innovation process needs to continue, even after you've come out with your final product. Companies that are successful, Apple, the first iPhone, nobody in their pocket still has the first iPhone, at least I hope not. There's a lot better iPhones out there now. That's the whole point of innovation. That's from getting from your first good idea and taking it even farther. Because anybody can cut your price. Anybody can beat you on price. You need to come up with something truly unique to go to market with. And before that, it all starts at research and development. So what did we learn? Well, we learned never stop innovating. And where do we go from here? I think that we would like to be able to team up with other companies like Ring Video Doorbell, which we saw that footage from, that porch fire. They let you know that your package got stolen, but they didn't prevent it. That's why we think that being able to team up with other security companies would be a great benefit for us. And also, never run with a product until you know that you have a real success. So I want to thank everybody for coming out here and listening to us. We also have the canvas up here. We were going to leave up for the Q&A just in case if we needed to refer back to it. But thank you guys so much for listening.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Could you walk us through actually how to use the product? Like if I'm in the postal service and I'm delivering a package, like is it automatically open, or like what do you think about that?
Well, I think the best way is to use our prototype in this particular example. But Joe, I'll tell you what, if you want to hold that. So what we were thinking is, now we have our keypad lock. I don't know if you guys can see it. Yeah. If you guys can see that, we were thinking about having more or less a 4-digit PIN code. Now, what you would do is you would leave it ajar. It wouldn't actually be locked into place, right? Now, to stop the, making postal carriers have to know some sort of code or need to find some sort of key, it shouldn't be an obstacle course to deliver your package. We don't want that to happen at all. So what you would do is, if you know you have a package coming, you leave it ajar. Delivery person comes in, puts it in the box. When it's shut, then it's locked in place. You know your code. You know how to get into it. There's no security breaches.
And just something to move forward as you're furthering this product development. I know as we're advancing, post offices are closing, and one of the issues that I heard when I worked in government was we would get our prescription drugs mailed to our P.O. box, but now my post office is closing, so now they're going to have to leave it on my doorstep. Yep. So there could be a potential partnership there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you.
I'd like to hear more about the size of your
Yeah, believe it or not, this is not
device.
to scale. Yeah.
Right. Like,
but
how did you decide like how big it would be? Or
So, right.
what material it would be made of? Things of that sort.
Right, thank you. So what we did was we looked up Amazon's standard shipping sizes. So they have what's considered a standard shipping size package, which I think goes up to 9 inches on its longest side. But then they also have a large standard shipping size, which is up to 18 inches. So what we decided for, if you want to go back, I think we have the measurements actually posted on our. So we wanted to go with a box that was 18 by 36 inches, so that it could fit the largest, what is considered as large standard size. Now, of course, for the most part, whenever you're ordering something that's much bigger than that, you're going to have to sign for it anyways. They're not going to just deliver that to your house. And so that's why we decided to stay with the large standard shipping size.
I just have a question about on a day that say that you got a delivery from USPS, UPS, and FedEx. The container's supposed to be left ajar so that they can put it in there. Does this mean I have to buy 3 separate containers for whichever shipper is leaving things in my home?
Well, and that was actually a great question, by the way. That is something that we considered. We were thinking about having multiple latches. I mean, pretty rarely is it that you're going to have multiple coming on the same day, but I also think that it kind of comes down to the consumer themselves to kind of, you can choose scheduling on your packages as well. If you wanted to change that scheduling. Now, of course, that's a total issue that we ran into, and that's why we have been moving more onto different locking mechanisms and a different way for postal carriers to be able to figure out that problem. Because, I mean, you could leave the thing unlocked, and that's a problem. And if we can find a way to prevent that in any way, that's what we're going to try and do. Thank you.
How would you encourage the delivery folks, whether it's UPS, FedEx, UPS, whatever, to do that? They're have to move along pretty fast, and so it might be just easier for them to just put the package on the door and keep going.
Well, you're for sure right, and we can't force them to do that at all.
But how would you encourage them?
Well, I think that a lot of it kind of comes down. We've talked to a couple of delivery people that have worked in FedEx and UPS, and they actually spend a lot of time while they're in their trucks. If there's someone trailing them, they will alert the authorities. So they're aware of the problem, and I think that our way of encouraging it is, one, to try and make it as simple as possible. I think that the simpler it is for them, then the more likely it is that it's going to be used. But I mean, if you've ever had a package, I don't know if anyone has like screen doors, and they kind of put your package in between the screen door and the front door. Or maybe they even try and hide it outside. I mean, a lot of people that work in package delivery, they're doing what they can, for sure. So I think that, is there any way for them to guarantee the customer that it's going to be used 100% of the time by every postal carrier? That wouldn't be realistic. But I think making it as easy as possible is how you're going to have the most success.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. Okay, our next group this evening is Bison Grip with Tanner Kaiser, Tyler Sheets, Philip Long, and Caleb Mackey. Please welcome them to the stage.
Good day, everyone. Thanks for coming in. My name's Tanner Kaiser, and we are Bison Grip. So we started with a simple problem of everybody spilling drinks in their car. This is a problem that everybody's faced. It ruins the whole evening, gets on your clothes, wastes the drink. So we started by talking to our classmates. We really wanted to figure out when and why do spills occur. While talking to them, a lot of them ended up referencing their last fast food experience. This is because the spill normally happened from the third or fourth drink that they ended up having to put in the passenger seat in between their legs,
really not in a convenient place. After that, we talked to them and we knew that they put a lot of attention on this third or fourth drink that while they were driving to make sure it didn't spill. Like every time they went to a break, they'd have to brace it and pay attention to it instead of driving. We took that and we started talking to commuter students and truck drivers. This is because they drive a long distance and they spend a lot of time on the road. They were really fond of the accessibility of our product, and that is because they have so many other items in their console that they end up juggling. They liked it because when items are in their arm's reach, they can reach over and keep their eyes on the road and not focus on their drink. So where we're at now is we decided that it's not just a product to stop spills, it's a product to create a cleaner and safer driving experience. It creates a better organization for their console so they can focus on the road and know where all their drinks are, and that will end up creating a better, safer driver experience because they'll be paying attention to the road and not on their drinks. So this is what our product is right now. It's our second version. Our first version just consisted of the pole and a cup on it. We had really no clue where we're going to mount it or where it's going to go in the car. We just knew that there needed to be space for another cup holder in the car. So from there, we found that in between the console and the passenger seat, there's this little space that is pretty universal between all cars that it can slide into. After we put that on there, we knew that we had to have something for that third and fourth cup. Then we added a basket to help stop the clutter, to keep all their things in their console into the basket. By mounting it here, we also found that it is still in arm's reach of the driver. So it's definitely a safety device to keep the focus on the road instead of on keeping your drink from spilling. So where we want to go from here is we need to talk to an engineer to finalize the product because we need to make sure it's capable and can fit into all different types of vehicles. That's the biggest challenge we have to face because there is no straight universal way to fit it. Then we need to talk to a production company to figure out how to mass produce it. We were thinking of a plastic mold, cheap and easy to go through. And then for distribution, we were thinking for Amazon or as seen on TV as a way to distribute it. Thank you. Any questions?
Was this your first solution to the problem?
Now, our first solution was just the pole with a cup on it, just because we just thought there was just a need for having one cup. Just by the third or fourth drink from the first interview. But from there, we needed it to be sturdy and needs to be something that they can put their drinks into for the whole drive experience and not really worry about them spilling. Does that answer your question?
So you added more cups, or you added the stabilizing piece, or what was the first iteration of the solution?
Originally, the problem wasn't what we're looking at now. The initial problem was that the cups would spill. And then, so essentially the first solution was to create an adapter to fit in your already existing cup holders that would expand or contract to fit your individually sized cups.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
So I'm trying to conceptualize, where did you come up with the need for this product? Like, was it market research? Was it folks you talked to? Was there surveys?
So I travel to fairs and events a lot for work as a sales rep. And during these trips, I normally have multiple drinks. So when I'm driving, I can focus on the road and not really pay attention to my drinks with like having a GPS running, having my coffee, having a water, having everything in arm's reach.
Okay, thanks.
It seems as if you're trying to focus in on focus. What happens when things don't go wrong in the car? Is it safe? Is the product safe? Is it going to bounce around the car and cause injury? Have you thought about the liability?
Okay. We thought that with going into the slot, it creates a pretty sturdy of a spot there. And with having it hold the cups, we want them to not really pay attention to the cups and stay focused on the road.
Okay, thank you very much. Great job, guys. presentations this evening. This is Millions for Medicine with Maya Linden, Sarah Moyer, and Kelly Leonard. Please welcome them to the stage.
Hello everyone, thank you for having us. We are Millions for Medicine. There are millions of problems in the world, but this one is closest to our hearts. So I'm going to pass it off to Kelly, who's going to tell you about Stephanie's story and how we created this company. A few years ago, one of my family members, who we will call Stephanie, was diagnosed with leukemia. As Stephanie battled this disease, it took a major toll on her health, family, and finances. It was very difficult to watch Stephanie struggle and made me wish that there was something I could do to help her. So that's what got us to thinking, how might we reduce Stephanie's healthcare burden? So we knew we wanted to focus on improving healthcare in general, but just didn't know what solutions we could create to solve this problem. So during our ideation process, we first came up with medical reporting clothing that would track pH balances and physical activity. However, after research, we realized that this technology was already pretty developed. So then we moved on and created a data collecting implant. We discussed this idea with a few people, but realized that people were pretty hesitant about getting something implanted into their body due to privacy concerns. So then we came up with a calorie tracking pill. But after research, we realized that the technology just wasn't advanced enough and that it wouldn't utilize our skills and expertise. So with that in mind, and using our skills and expertise, we came up with a healthcare lottery system to reduce the financial healthcare burden on people like Stephanie. As we knew this problem existed, we didn't know how big the problem actually was. So we went and researched the financial burden of healthcare in the United States and found that there is currently over $81 billion of medical debt in the United States. In addition, there are over 64 million people struggling to pay this debt. And medical debt is the #1 cause of bankruptcy in the United States. Although these were staggering statistics, we wanted to see how it personally affected someone. So we had a conversation with Stephanie and put ourselves in her shoes. During our conversation, she relayed a lot of great information to us, saying that every 3 months she must pay $1,100 just to get her blood taken. But during our conversation, she also said that you think that you're done with treatments and the doctors say that there's something else is wrong and there's another bill. With every treatment to improve her health, it just decreased her financial stability. So there, our mission was developed, to give people struggling with medical debt the chance of a lifetime. Now here is Maya to discuss our solution that we innovated to fulfill our mission.
So like Kelly was saying, we did come up with a healthcare lottery system. So we used the iCanvas and we developed this idea into a business. First, we started with a donation fund, but we realized that this wasn't providing enough of an incentive. So then we pivoted onto a 50-50 lottery. This would split up the jackpot between a ticket buyer and a person with medical debt. However, this wasn't sustainable for our cost structure, and that's when we pivoted to a win-win lottery, where every party wins. So some of you might be wondering, what is a win-win lottery? A win-win lottery involves growing the jackpot through $1 ticket sales and then splitting it 3 ways. The drawings would occur monthly, and with every drawing there would be 2 guaranteed winners. So up to 50% of the jackpot would go towards paying off one person's medical debt. If the winner's medical debt was under 50%, then the remaining money would go back into the jackpot for next month's drawing. And it would be free to apply, and it would require a doctor's medical recommendation. And then the winner would be selected at random, and they would be vetted to make sure they meet the requirements and that they are in need of the financial assistance. So then 45% would go to a randomly selected ticket buyer who can use their winnings however they feel fit. And then 5% would go to Millions for Medicine, and we would use this to reinvest in the company. So by offering a low cost and a feel-good lottery and the opportunity for everyone to win, this is what creates our unique value proposition. So while we were going through the business model, we had a few assumptions of our own. We assumed that an online ad would attract people to our website where they would then be willing to purchase a $1 ticket. We also assumed that people would like our name, which was originally Lottery for Life. And we assumed that the opportunity of winning money would be the biggest incentive. So we knew that we needed to test our assumptions, and that's when we used design thinking. We created this ad that you see here, and we went on and talked to people to get feedback on it. They said it was too spammy and they wouldn't click on it. So this is not what we wanted to hear. But they gave us some insight and told us that by adding a logo, it would legitimize it, and they explained, which was really big to us, that the opportunity of winning money wasn't what incentivized them, but it was rather the opportunity to help someone with medical debt. And then they also explained the name Lottery for Life was a little bit confusing as they were under the assumption that they would be getting money for the rest of their life, which wasn't what we were offering. So based on that, we created our second iteration. We added a logo that you can see in the bottom, and we focused more on the medical aspect by changing the picture. We went on and tested this second iteration, and here's what we got. They said they would click on the ad, but they'd be more willing to do it if it had a picture of a kid. So now that we validated some of our assumptions, and then we pivoted on others, we decided it was time to put together a scrappy version of our win-win lottery system. So we partnered with a local nonprofit to help a little boy with cerebral palsy, who we will call Brady. And we sold tickets for $1 in Quarterly Hall for just a few hours. And we explained that 50% would go to pay off Brady's medical debt, and that 45% would go to the lucky ticket winner. Our goal was to sell $3 worth of tickets just so everyone would get a profit. Now here's Sarah to explain the results and our long-term potential.
So as Maya said, our original goal was to raise $3, but we actually ended up raising $77, so it exceeded our expectations. And some of the comments that we got were, I wish I had more cash to give, and how could I not give $1 to him? We also got comments asking if we received virtual payments and if we would be there the rest of the week. So this is kind of how the $77 would be split up. So going back to where we pivoted, originally we thought people would be motivated by winning money, but it turns out it was the opposite. So the person who actually won donated her money back to Brady's family. And so, because she was motivated by helping people. And so we also donated our part to Brady's family, and we're actually giving it to them tomorrow, so we're really excited to see their reactions. So $77 doesn't seem like a lot, so let's add some zeros to that. So the Powerball sells 12 million tickets each drawing, and theirs is twice a week, and ours would be once a month. And so with those conservative numbers, we would make around $4.6 million in revenue. So these are the next steps that we would take. We would start with scaling. So we did create a website, but we would publish it so we could test it on a larger demographic and also test the frequency of the lottery. We would see if taking 5% would cover our cost structure. And we would need to seek legal counsel as far as seeing if the winnings would be taxed as gambling or business revenue. We would have to register to be a nonprofit, look into patents, and also apply for certain licenses. So there are 64 million people in the United States struggling with medical debt. Join us on our mission to help people like Brady and Stephanie and give them the chance of a lifetime.
I love your clear next steps, right? If you wouldn't mind going back to that slide, are they in the right order? Like, it seems to me like that number 4 is a major hurdle, so I'm curious to know what type of research you've already done to this end to figure out how you can do something like this.
So these aren't in the order that we would actually approach them, but we wanted to leave you with our most important one, so that would be in your memory most. So we did reach out for legal. One thing we would need to get this idea patented to eliminate competition, and then we realized that we do have some issues. There was a Unlawful Internet Gambling Act passed in 2006, so you can't unlawfully do it, but if we were registered as a nonprofit, which our goal is to do that, then we would be able to receive a charity raffle license, which provides you the opportunity to lawfully do internet gambling, and then we'd have to apply state-by-state basis. So we would first do it in West Virginia and then branch out for states.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I just want to say great presentation.
Thank you so much.
How would you choose the lucky recipient?
The recipients would apply on our website, and they can fill out an application. It's pretty simple. You just have to fill out your name, some contact information, and then they'd also upload their doctor recommendation as well. That to choose the winner of the medical side would be randomized, and basically after they were chosen, we would vet them. We'd bring our own team of doctors in just to make sure that they're not falsifying any information, and that we bring in some accountants and look at their income statements just so we can make sure that it's legitimate.
Do you think you're narrow enough right now? I mean, like, do you have the wherewithal to vet all types of medical ailments against your model? And are you starting, if you were just to start that broad, is it too broad?
So like she said, there are 64 million people with this, so it is a broad number. But even with the design thinking aspect, the whole concept is to go broad to narrow. So right now we would be open to all medical ones. That's a good point that you bring up. But I feel like with more design thinking, we'd be able to see if that is too broad for us and if we need to narrow that down. So I think that's a good point that you bring up.
So have you thought about your vetting structure, like what that would look like?
Yeah, so we have thought about it. We would need a lot of legal advice on it because, like Sarah was mentioning, we would need to get clearance from HIPAA to make sure that we can get their medical their medical records and their medical bills. But so the vetting process would have to be based off of they have a certain amount of income, a certain amount of debt, and then the qualification of their medical disease as well. So that would be the process, and then the vetting process would go in much further once the winner is actually chosen.
Cool, thanks.
Have you given some thought to social media influencers who could help promote your cause? That brings to mind what We Rate Dogs does on a weekly basis with the GoFundMe of dogs that are having health issues, and people give large amounts of money to that.
Yeah, so after we've done the lottery for a while, we would take the winners of the medical side and kind of create stories and videos and post it so it can kind of like help get our jackpot to grow and have more people help.
And then in addition, once we do show that people have won, we will publish their stories on social media accounts. So that brings in more empathy that way, showing that our business is actually helping people, but also helping people win money as well. So just showing the success stories. And then maybe eventually celebrity endorsers or hospitals like St. Jude's or even Cabell, Huntington, or St. Mary's could help endorse these.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. You did a great job. Guys, can we have a round of applause for all of our groups? Thanks tonight. Judges, I wouldn't want to be you. For the first time tonight, I'm glad I'm here at this time right now. This is time for you all to now go deliberate and have a chance to discuss among yourselves on ranking our presenters tonight. So if you all will follow Olin out that way. While the judges are taking time to deliberate, we are going to have a few more remarks from Dean Avi. So at this time, I'd like to bring him back up to talk about Center for Entrepreneurship and the 50th anniversary for the Lewis College of Business. Please welcome back Dean Avi.
Well, thank you, Mackenzie. And as the scores get computed, I guess I just wanted to give you some updates on what we are doing as a college. We obviously heard some great examples of innovation and ideas from our students. The college is going through a very exciting time, and I know that almost everyone in this room is a stakeholder of our college, right? So either as a student or faculty or parents of students or alumni or board members or just employees of the university, we all are rooting for what's going on at Marshall and at the Lewis College of Business. A few great things are happening. First of all, we are celebrating our 50th anniversary of the college this year. 2019 is our 50th anniversary. We started as a school of business in 1969. Actually, we are doing a lot of fact-checking and going back into the history of the school and the programs, and we found that the first business program was launched as long back as 1921. So, you could say that as soon as we do the 50th year, our 100th year is kind of coming very soon. But the 50th anniversary is really a celebration of an actual unit within the university called the School of Business. This year, we will be having a whole week in April that will be dedicated to events and celebration for the college. So again, if you're an alumnus, a student, a faculty, a staff, or any other stakeholder of the college, please do join us on those dates. It's going to be on 15th and 17th of April. 15th April, we are meeting in Charleston at the Civic Center. It's in the evening. You will get an invite, but you'll find it on our website also. It's from 5:30 in the evening to about 8:30 or 9 on the 15th of April. That's Monday at the Charleston Civic Center and Coliseum, and we are meeting right here in this building, actually in this room, on the 17th of April. So we have a Huntington event, we have a Charleston event, and we will be celebrating both those days with some major speakers. Of course, Brad Smith is going to be here with us on both those days. As will be Mark McVeigh, who you might have heard of. He's a Broadway performer and an alumnus of the Lewis College of Business. In between, on the 16th of April, we will be starting our business incubator in downtown Huntington. So that's another event that's coming up right that week. On the 18th, the Thursday, we have what is called the LCOB Birthday Bash, which is a student event where the Student Olympics will end. We have all the student organizations. We have 12 student organizations in the college that will compete with each other for about a week, ending in the finals on that day. That's the Thursday, the 18th. And the 19th of April, Friday, we will be having our faculty and staff awards night, which is a very special event where we bring again our stakeholders and recognize our best teacher of the year, the best researcher of the year, and the best service contributor of the year. So we are looking forward to that. Much of the enthusiasm and rejuvenation of the college is triggered by this phenomenal gift from Brad Smith and Alice Smith, his wife, to the tune of $25 million for the College of Business that we received last November. What is coming as a result of that gift are, first of all, a completely reimagination of the curriculum of the College of Business. So we are actually looking back at our entire undergraduate and graduate business curriculum. And that's a big initiative. As you can imagine, curriculum changes are hard, but they are also long term. And so we are investing a lot of time and effort, and we would be inviting feedback from a lot of you as we kind of come to a more state-of-the-art business curriculum for the college. So that's one. The other big news is we are actually starting the process of building a new College of Business building. And that building will be right here, just across the main campus on 4th Avenue. You might have already seen an RFQ floated out in the media. So there are already bids coming for that. And we are likely to see some really good bids, and the process is going to start very soon. It is a commitment of 3 to 5 years at least for this building, but we will move forward pretty fast. There is more fundraising to be done, but again, Brad's gift has set the tone for it's a challenge gift, and other people will come on board hopefully and make this dream a reality. So that's another huge initiative that we are working on. Overall, I think what we are moving towards is a business school that is rooted in where we are. I think we are very much grounded in our environment. We belong to West Virginia, we belong to the southern part of the state, and we belong to the tri-state region that we serve. And therefore, we want to work with businesses in the area. Experiential learning is a very big part of our college, as many of you who are students already know. We are going to do more projects with businesses. We are going to help businesses and startups on a regular basis with projects and other initiatives. The incubator and the iCenter are going to be big parts of what the business school and the university will do for the community. And we will be able to therefore serve not only the state overall, but also the region and beyond. So these are very, very exciting times. Again, there's a lot more coming from the college. Please follow us on our website and our social media, and look forward to this very event next year, hopefully on an even bigger scale. Thank you.
PowerPoint clicker? Oh, yeah. Thank you, Avi. Really appreciate the kind words there. We're looking forward to the 50th anniversary, and this competition and the iCenter in general wouldn't exist without your vision, your passion and belief in me and Oland, and our entire college has really accomplished a lot in the short time that you've been here, and I really feel like the best is yet to come, so thank you for your belief. About a year and a half ago, I went with Olin to BW3 at the Huntington Mall, fine dining establishment, great chicken wings, right? And I asked Olin if he would partner with me on really kind of an insane idea. And the idea really had two parts to it. The first one was it's going to be a ton of extra work. And the second part is that you don't get paid to do any of it, neither do I. So it was a great deal. It was a great deal. But there was some upside to that deal, and the upside was that maybe we could change the future of West Virginia. So together we founded the iCenter, and from that day forward, it became our mission to inspire the inner entrepreneur in everyone, and to empower them, with the innovation knowledge they need to reframe the future of our state and our region. And ever since we founded this thing, people always ask me, like, where is the iCenter located? Like, where is this center thing? And I always have to explain, no. It's not really a place. I mean, it'll have, offices and stuff like that, but it's really the programs, right? It's programs that help people become entrepreneurs and innovators. And this competition, it's got a lot of words, WVIBMC, a lot of letters, is our first public program. So this is the iCenter. You guys are part of the iCenter. And ironically, what this competition told me is that I was wrong, right? Like even the iCenter wasn't a place, and the iCenter really isn't even a program. The iCenter is really people, right? It's the student teams. The students, you all are the iCenter. And today, you've inspired the inner entrepreneur in everyone. And today, you've reframed the future of West Virginia. So thank you guys for joining us on our mission. And if I could take a moment and ask the students to stand up. Yeah, thanks. Oh, okay, I was trying to find you all. Let's give these guys a round of applause. Thanks, guys. You all really outdone yourselves tonight, and no matter what the results of the judges when they come back, no matter what they say to you, just remember what Brad said in that video at the very beginning from the start, which is, and I loved it when he said it, and I hope you guys really remember it, because this is really the heart of design thinking. It's embrace successes and embrace setbacks equally as opportunities to learn. But most importantly, put your dent in the universe. Really think about that, right? So no matter where, no matter what place you come in, I hope you had a memorable experience that you can learn from. I'm proud of you all. I'm proud you all chose to innovate insane ideas like Olin and I did with the iCenter. And you aim to put a dent in giant impossible problems like healthcare, brain drain, plastic pollution. I'm glad you guys those were the problems you tried to solve. That's what I'm proud of. It's that type of thinking that will bring prosperity to you and the economy of West Virginia while simultaneously solving the world's greatest challenges. Finally, I wanted to thank Olin. Thank you for founding the iCenter with me. Thank you for producing this amazing competition, and thank you for being a great human being. If we could take a moment to give Olin a round of applause for creating this competition. And with that, Olin, I'll let you say a few words about the competition.
Thank you, pal. Thank you for the kind words, Ben. Ben's been a fantastic partner. We have different experiences, different approaches, different outlooks sometimes, but it sort of works in a funny yin and yang kind of a way. And we kind of bring out the best in each other. And so I want to reciprocate the thank you and the appreciation. Some of what we tried to set out to do with this competition in particular, I think Brad summarized pretty well. 2 big points. We want to try to demystify failure. Failure is something none of us really appreciate or like very well. But if you ask most people that have succeeded in life, they've learned the most through their failures. And We want to not only demystify failure, but also encourage the mindset of keep persevering, keep channeling through whatever problems you're personally facing with, whatever it is, in a business opportunity or what have you. The other piece of this is trying to incubate ideas that sometimes get overlooked because they don't get the support that they need. Sometimes we think of ideas as disposable and kind of out in the ether, and we kind of pull them down, but there are opportunities there, and so we want to at least provide a forum and a format to incubate ideas. And hopefully we accomplished at least a little bit of that with this competition. A couple of things on why we think it's important. Preparing students for the future is something we're all passionate about, everybody in the College of Business, faculty, staff, administration. Ben and I in particular when it comes to entrepreneurship. And one of the ways we think we can help prepare students for the future is through these methodologies. We also think and hope we can transform the ecosystem in West Virginia, both the entrepreneurial ecosystem and more broadly the economy. So we hope, I don't know where that noise keeps coming from, but it's been bugging. I'm out of time. Good night, everybody. Well done. But we hope to transform the ecosystem and the economy in West Virginia. And we also hope to improve the future for those that want and desire a better West Virginia. That's something most of us are very passionate about. We don't want to move away. So many people that have been involved in this process, Jeremy Turner, myself, Ben Ng, we've all moved away. Kevin Levine's moved away, at least for a time. We've moved away and we've come back because we're West Virginians and we want better for the next generation of West Virginians, and we want to see this state succeed in the way we hope and think it can. So a couple of things about the mission and why we think it's important. I have the good fortune to be able to thank a lot of people this evening. This is no way a one-man show. It is impossible to be a one-man show. I first want to thank our outstanding MC, Mackenzie Morley. She did a fantastic job this evening. Let's give her a round of applause. This evening would not be possible without the Yancey Endowment through the Marshall University Foundation. We want to give a big thank you to them because they gave us the ability and the funding to be able to pull this off. So a big thank you to the Yancey Endowment and the folks that fund that. We couldn't have done this without the support and the encouragement of Dean Avi. He's been a champion of this from the very beginning, and so we also want to thank our leader, Dean Avi. We appreciate all the support. Thank you for everything you've done. I've thanked Ben. I'll thank him again. I'll give him a big hug at some future date. Also want to recognize Jeremy Turner in the back. He's been a confidant of mine for about 18 months now. We met about 18 months ago, became fast friends, and saw a lot of very similar mindsets in terms of what the entrepreneurial ecosystem in this region needs and across the state. You have been more than valuable. I can't thank you enough for all that you've done and how you've helped, especially, it's probably gone under the radar a little too much, but Jeremy has been a tremendous help to me. So thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate it. Also want to thank all of our faculty members and all of our staff inside the College of Business. They've been nothing but supportive. I see several faculty members here this evening. Several faculty members encourage their students to attend this competition. I want to thank all of you guys. We appreciate all the support, all the good words, and all the encouragement that you guys have given us. So thank you guys as well. As you can see up on stage, we have 3 trophies, a first place, second, and third place trophy. Those were created and manufactured at RCBI down on 10th Street. Deacon Stone, one of the creators and fabricators of these trophies, is joining us this evening. Deacon, thank you so much. These are beautiful trophies, and we appreciate it. Thank you. With that, I'm going to turn it over to a colleague of ours from Morgantown, Tara St. Clair. She's going to talk to you for a few minutes about the West Virginia Business Plan Competition and give you some very valuable information. Tara?
Hi. Thank you, Olin. I would like to thank you, Ben, and Avi for having me here tonight. Quick show of hands, has anyone here heard of the business plan competition? Okay, yeah, great. A couple of people, that's good. So we are in our 13th year of the business plan competition. This is a statewide competition. And the goal is basically to prevent brain drain in the state of West Virginia, which we had a team discussing tonight. This competition affords students to compete for real money, consulting services, and to get you to open up businesses in the state of West Virginia. So we have 3 categories in the competition. I'll quickly just go over them. We have hospitality and tourism, lifestyle and innovation, and STEM. So we give $10,000 out in each of these 3 categories, and then we also have an additional $10,000 of at-large money. So let's say you didn't win and you were in the STEM category, you could still win money to start working on prototyping or whatever you need to start your business in the state. This competition is open to full-time students in the state of West Virginia. This includes undergraduate and graduate students. Team member, you can have 1 to 3 team members on one team, and you can mix and match. So let's say you attend Marshall University and you have a good friend, a brother or sister that attends the University of Charleston. You can mix and match your team and enter into the competition. In round 1, we're using the business model canvas, so I hope that you guys that entered into this competition choose to enter into our competition in the fall. It's the exact same. You're using the business model canvas and you submit online. The top 10 teams in each category move on to round 2 to compete at the semifinals. At the semifinals, you are doing a 2-minute elevator pitch. You are doing one-on-one interviews with judges, and you submit a feasibility study. The top 5 in each category will go on to compete for that $10,000. Just for making it to the finals, each team receives $1,000. So if you need a new suit to compete at the finals, if you need money for travel, for prototyping, you can use that $1,000 however you'd like. And I hope that you guys choose to enter into the competition. Right now we're on the tail end. The finals are in April, so if you are still in school in the fall, I hope you choose to apply to the competition. So thank you, guys.
Okay, judges are still deliberating, so that means you get to hear me sing. I'm just kidding, not happening. So while the judges are still deliberating, guys, we'll just let you chit-chat amongst yourselves, sit peacefully, check your emails, whatever you need to do, and when the judges return, we will go ahead and start handing out awards. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our judges have returned. So if everyone could go ahead and grab their seats.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, again, I know, Ben said this, and it's, worth reiterating is just how impressive tonight has been. As someone that's had to stand here and be impartial and, not make a face, I have to say, every single group, you guys did a fantastic job, and just standing here talking with these judges, this took a lot, and you all have really put a lot of effort into this. Your presentations were fantastic. So one more round of applause for the students. Well done. Very, very well. So we're going to be announcing tonight our top 3 groups. Just a reminder that all 3 of these groups that are announced tonight get to meet tomorrow and present their concepts and their innovations to Brad Smith. And then our winner from tonight will then go on to the statewide competition that's taking place on April 6th and wins all the money, honey. So, okay guys, what we'll do is we'll start with our 3rd place. Are we ready? Okay, congratulations to our 3rd place winners, the group Link Up.
Once again, congratulations, guys. You did a great job. And now on to our second place. Big congratulations to Creating Greener Solutions. Congratulations, guys. Now, before I announce our final winner for tonight, don't forget those two winners and then our first place winner tonight. You can't go out and celebrate because you have to present in front of Brad tomorrow. So I know you want to relax and celebrate, but you can't. Okay, and now for our first place winner, again, who gets to move on to the finals on April 6th. Congratulations goes to Millions for Medicine. Congratulations, guys. If we could, one more round of applause for all of our groups tonight. Thank you, guys, and again, please stay abreast and for all the information that'll be coming for the 50th anniversary of the Lewis College of Business, for again, the statewide event that'll be taking place here on April 6th. And thank all of you guys for coming out tonight. Thank you to our hosts here, all the faculty, and Dean Avi for all you do. Have a wonderful evening, guys. Thank you very much.